Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Quote of the day is: We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act but a habit. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Dr. Rida Shehram Sarwar, and under supervision of Professor Dr. Sarah Afzal. Today, I will be presenting to you, everyone, the topic of anemia. The learning outline for today is: what is anemia, pathophysiology, normal values, types, classification, risk factors, causes, signs and symptoms, investigations, management and treatment, as well as recent updates. Learning outcome. At the end of the presentation, participants will have a broad overview of anemia, its types and classification, how to identify different types of anemia through lab investigations, and recognize signs and symptoms. Management of anemia will also be understood in depth. What exactly is anemia? Anemia is decrease in hemoglobin, hematocrit, and number of RBC count, resulting in lower ability for the blood to carry oxygen to the body tissues. According to WHO, anemia is a serious global health problem that particularly affects young children and pregnant women. WHO estimates that 42% of children less than 5 years of age and 40% of pregnant women worldwide are anemic. Pathophysiology: decrease in RBC's HP or hematocrit level, diminished oxygen carrying capacity of the cells, which results in hypoxia and hypoxia induced effects on organ function. And then further, you can see the signs and symptoms of anemia. The normal values for reference in men include greater than 13 grams per deciliter, and in women, it's greater than 12 grams. In pregnant women, it's greater than 11. And infants from 2 to 6 months, it's greater than 9.5. Children from 6 months to 24 months, it's greater than 10.5. And then 2 years to 11 years, it's greater than 11.5. And then children from 12 years onwards, again greater than 12. Classification. Classification can be done in two ways. Firstly, based on the cause, and second, based on the morphology. When we classify according to the cause, we can do as blood loss, inadequate production of normal blood cells, excessive destruction of blood cells. And then if there's classification on the basis of morphology, then there's normocytic, microcytic, as well as macrocytic. Clinically, anemia has the following types. There's iron deficiency anemia, megaloblastic anemia, hemorrhagic anemia, pernicious anemia, aplastic anemia, and then there's hemolytic anemia, which further comes under thalassemia as well as sickle cell anemia. Iron deficiency anemia is when there's excessive loss of iron or less intake of iron. Especially women are at risk for menstrual blood and growing fetus in menstrual blood losses and growing fetus in pregnant women. Megaloblastic anemia is when there's lesser intake of vitamin B12 as well as folic acid. Red bone marrow produces abnormal RBCs due to, for example, cancer drugs. Pernicious anemia, on the other hand, is the inability of the stomach to produce intrinsic factor, which is supposed to absorb vitamin B12 from the small intestines. Hemorrhagic anemia, on the other hand, occurs when there is excessive loss of RBCs through bleeding, for example, stomach ulcers or menstruation. Hemolytic anemia is when the RBC plasma membrane ruptures, as well as it can be due to parasites, toxins, and antibiotics. Then there's thalassemia. In this, there's less synthesis of hemoglobin, and this is more present in the Mediterranean Sea population. Sickle cell anemia. This is a hereditary blood disorder categorized by RBCs that assume an abnormal and sickle shape. Aplastic anemia, on the other hand, is destruction of the red bone marrow caused by toxins as well as gamma radiation. Normochromic normocytic anemia, which in this case has normal MCHC, normal MCV. These include anemias of chronic disease, hemolytic anemia, anemia of acute hemorrhage, as well as aplastic anemia. Then there's hypochromic microcytic. In that, there's low MCHC, low MCV. These include iron deficiency anemia, thalassemia, as well as anemia of chronic diseases. Then there's normochromic macrocytic anemia, in which there's the normal MCHC, but the MCV levels are high, and this is seen in vitamin B12 deficiency or folate deficiency. Risk factors for anemia include poor socioeconomic class, multiparity, teenage pregnancy, as well as menstrual problems. This basically is a diagram that shows the dietary factors that are responsible, which includes low vitamin C, excessive folate, excessive tea, coffee, low iron, heme, iron, and then fat diets. And then social physical factors include poor detention, alcohol abuse, depression, candle burning, GIT disease, poverty, and then it basically classifies those that result in high risk or very high risk. And then there's demographic factors that include the elderly, females, teenagers, immigrants, aborigines, which is a certain race of people, and then there's yes, that's it. Okay, so risk factors for iron deficiency anemia include the main one is pregnancy, then there's nutritional inadequacy, then there's various gastrointestinal pathologies, menorrhagia, hemorrhoids, hookworms, as well as hematuria. Causes include increased requirements, like, for example, menstruating females, pregnancy, lactation, growing infants, as well as children, and erythropoietin treatment. Increased losses include in GI bleeding, menorrhagia, persistent hematuria, intravascular hemolytic anemias, regular blood donors, as well as parasitic infections. Decreased intake is when there's a vegetarian diet, as well as socioeconomic factors. And then there's decreased absorption when there's medications, for example, antacid, Zantac, gastrectomy, and upper GI pathologies, like, for example, celiac or Crohn's disease. Common symptoms of anemia include easy fatigue and loss of energy, unusually rapid heartbeat, especially when you exercise, shortness of breath, as well as headache, difficulty in concentration, dizziness, pale skin, leg cramps, as well as insomnia. Other signs, on the other hand, include koilonychia, which is basically the spooning of nails, angular stomatitis, brittle hair, atrophy of papillae of tongue, dysphagia and glossitis, blurred vision syndrome, as well as brittle nails. Here you can basically see in the parts of the body the different symptoms. In the eyes, there's yellowing skin, there's paleness, coldness, yellowing, respiratory symptoms, shortness of breath, muscular symptoms, weakness, intestinal change, stool color, central nervous system, there's fatigue, dizziness, fainting, blood vessels, which basically means low blood pressure. In the heart, there's palpitations, rapid heart rate, chest pain, angina, and can also lead to a heart attack. And then spleen, there's enlargement. Investigation. The red cell population is defined by quantitative parameters and qualitative parameters. And the quantitative parameters, the volume of packed cells, that is the hematocrit, hemoglobin concentration, and the red cell concentration per unit volume. Qualitative parameters include mean corpuscular volume, mean corpuscular hemoglobin, and mean corpuscular hemoglobin concentration. Hematocrit is the production of the volume of blood sample that is occupied by RBCs. Men is 42 to 52%, female is 36 to 48%. Red cell count is the total number of red cells per unit volume of the blood sample. In men, it's 4.2 to 5.4 raised to the power 10⁶ per millimeter. Raised to the power 3. In women, it's 3.6 to 5. Cell volume hemoglobin concentration is the amount of hemoglobin per unit volume of blood. And in women, this is 12 to 16 grams per deciliter. And in men, this is 14 to 17 grams per deciliter. Labs. Mean corpuscular volume is done. This is the average volume of RBCs. The normal ranges are between 80 to 100. Mean corpuscular hemoglobin is the average hemoglobin content per RBCs, and this is 27 to 31. Mean corpuscular hemoglobin concentration is the average concentration of hemoglobin in a given red cell volume, and this normal value is 32 to 36 grams per deciliter. Management. Determine the cause of anemia. The etiology is often multifactorial. Even when there's an obvious cause, investigations are going to underline the cause. Like, for example, underlying the causes, example, can even be cancer. Aims of treatment is basically normalize the hemoglobin level and red cell indices, replenish iron stores. Individualized disease-specific management depending on the cause. Then lifestyle management is basically recommended that patients with iron deficiency receive dietary advice. Then there's non-pharmacological treatment, which, for example, means that tea and coffee needs to be inhibited to basically because they inhibit iron absorption. So you need to basically, especially when consumed after meal, you need to restrict these. Vitamin C is a powerful enhancer of iron absorption from non-meat foods when consumed with a meal, and the size of vitamin C effect on iron absorption increases with the quantity of vitamin C in the meal. Germination and fermentation of cereals and legumes provides the bioavailability of iron by reducing the content of phyllate, a substance in food that inhibits iron absorption. Promote and support exclusive breastfeeding for about 6 months, followed by breastfeeding with appropriate complementary foods, including iron-rich foods, through the second year of life, which will decrease the chances of iron deficiency anemia in your child. This is the recommended dietary intake in men, adult. The recommended amount is basically 8 milligrams per day. In women, this is also 8 to age 50 onwards. Adults 19 to 50 is 18. Pregnant women is 27. Lactating is 9 to 10. And adolescents, girls or boys, is 8 to 15 in girls, and then 8 to 11 in boys. And then an infant, which is 7 months to 1 year of life, is 11. And then infants from birth to 6 months is 0.27 milligram. And most of this is present in breast milk. Management. Complementary parasitic control measures. Antihelminthic therapy with 400 milligrams of single dose of albendazole is given to eliminate hookworms before the initiation of iron and folic acid therapy. Children greater than 2 years of age, 200 milligrams a day, a single dose of albendazole is given. Pregnancy, it is contraindicated in the first trimester, but it can be given in the second and third. Now, basically coming to the individualized treatments, firstly, for 6 to 24 months of age, the dosage that is required is 12 milligrams of iron and 50 micrograms of folic acid daily. And if the birth weight is normal, the duration is 6 to 24 months of age. This is the requirement that's daily. And if it's low birth weight, that's basically 2 to 24 months of age, the duration, and that's the dosage. Treatment of mild to moderate anemia is the dosage required for children between 2 to 5 years of age is 20 to 30 milligrams of iron. Children 6 to 11 years is 30 to 60 milligrams of iron, and adolescents and adults is 60 milligrams of iron. Anemia will correct itself within 2 to 4 months if proper dose of iron is given and the cause of iron deficiency is corrected. Then continue iron therapy an additional 4 to 6 months in adults after the hemoglobin becomes normal to replenish the iron stores. Treatment of severe anemia, on the other hand, for greater than 2 years of age, the dosage is 25 milligrams iron plus 100 to 400 micrograms of folic acid daily for 3 months. 2 to 12 years is 60 milligram iron and 400 micrograms folic acid daily, 3 months. In adults and adolescents, including pregnant women, is basically for 3 months, you give 120 milligram iron and 400 microgram folic acid daily. After completing 3 months of therapeutic supplementation, pregnant women and infants should continue the preventative program of iron supplementation. As far as for treatment for pregnant women includes that this is shown in almost greater than 40% of our population. The dosage is 60 milligrams of iron with 400 micrograms of folic acid daily. The duration is basically 6 months in pregnancy, and then you continue up till 3 months postpartum. Iron absorption may be decreased by antacids or supplements containing aluminum, magnesium, calcium, zinc, as well as proton pump inhibitors. Space administration apart by at least 2 hours. Oral iron preparations may cause nausea, vomiting, dyspepsia, constipation, diarrhea, or dark stools. Strategies to minimize these effects include start at a lower dose, increase gradually over 4 to 5 days, giving divided doses or the lowest effective dose, or taking supplements with meals. Although sustained release iron preparation tend towards less gastrointestinal side effects, they may not be as effective as standard film coated products due to reduced poor iron absorption. Okay, so anemia in kids under 5 years of age, you can see the severe deficiency of 5.7% and moderate is about 48%. More than half of Pakistani children are anemic and 5.7 are severely anemic. The prevalence of anemia is slightly higher amongst boys by just almost 1.5%. Children in rural areas are more likely to become anemic, 56.5% as compared to urban areas where it is 48.9%. And a similar pattern is observed for severe anemia, where the rural areas is 5.9 and urban is 5.2. Trends of anemia in Pakistan is that the prevalence of anemia has become consistently high since 2001, when it stood at 50.9% and then rose to 61.9 in 2011 and then decreased to 53.7 in 2018. Okay, so anemia in girls. In adolescent girls, you can basically see that the more than half, that is 54.7% of adolescent girls in Pakistan are anemic. Adolescent girls in rural areas are more likely, which is about 56%, tend to be anemic than their counterparts in urban areas, which stands at 52.5%. Anemia amongst the women of reproductive age, the severe deficiency bracket is about 1%, moderate deficiency is 41.7%, and then the normal deficiency is basically 57.4%. And once again, this is higher in the rural areas with 44.3% and in the urban areas at 40.2%. Coming to recent updates. The influence of nutritional supplementation for iron deficiency anemia on pregnancies associated with SARS-CoV infection. Abstract. Anemia is a very common occurrence during pregnancy with important variations during each trimester. Anemia was also considered as a risk factor for severity and negative outcomes in patients who had the COVID infection, as COVID-19 pandemic poses a significant threat for pregnant women in terms of infection risk and access to care. We developed a study to determine the effects of nutrition supplementation for iron deficiency anemia in correlation with the status of SARS-CoV-2 infection. In a case controls design, we identified 446 pregnancies and matched our inclusion criteria from the hospital database. The cases and controls were stratified by the SARS-CoV-2 infection and history to observe the association between exposure and outcomes in both mother and newborn. A total of 95 pregnant women were diagnosed with COVID-19, having significantly high proportion of iron deficiency anemia. Low birth weight, prematurity, and lower APGAR scores were statistically more often occurred with the COVID-19 group. Birth weight showed a wide variation by nutritional supplementation during pregnancy. A daily combination of iron and folate was the optimum choice to normalize the weight at birth. The complete blood count and laboratory studies for iron deficiency anemia showed significantly decreased levels in association with COVID exposure. Puerperal infection, emergency C-section, and small for gestational age were strongly associated with anemia in patients with COVID-19. It is imperative to screen for iron and folate deficiency in pregnancies at risk for complication, and it is recommended to supplement the nutritional intake of these two to promote the normal development and the growth of newborn and avoid multiple complications during pregnancy in the COVID-19 setting. Now coming to MCQ. Question number 1. A researcher wants to do a study regarding anemia in a child under the age of 5 years of age. The supervisor told him to take the sample by considering the global prevalence. What is the global prevalence of anemia in children less than 5 years of age? A, 38%, B, 39%, C, 40%, D, 41%, or E, 42%?
C.
The answer is E, 42%. Question 2. A boy of 10 years of age admitted for an operation with hemoglobin level of 10.5 in the theater. There was a conflict between the surgeon and anesthetist regarding the hemoglobin level of the patient. According to the anesthetist, the patient is anemic, but according to the surgeon, he is not. What should be the minimum value of hemoglobin for a boy who is 10 years of age? A, 10.5 grams per deciliter, B, 9.5, C, 11.5, D, 12.5, or E, 13? The answer is C. E is the upper limit. Question 3. A 30-year-old patient presented in the OPD. A patient was diagnosed with gastric ulcer 1 year back and remained untreated. In his CBC, HB was 9, MCH was normal, and MCV was high. So what is the diagnosis of this patient? A. Aplastic anemia, B. Pernicious anemia, C. Iron deficiency anemia, D. Hemolytic anemia, or E. Anemia of chronic disease?
B.
B.
Yes, the answer is B. Pernicious anemia. Question 4. A 21-year-old boy fainted in his college class upon being taken to emergency. His father gave history of not taking any kind of meat from the last 8 years. His CBC shows a hemoglobin only of 4. MCHC and MCV was lower than normal value, and the cell lines are normal. What was the top differential diagnosis for this patient? A. Iron deficiency anemia, B. Megaloblastic anemia, C. Hemolytic anemia, D. Aplastic, or E. Folate deficiency anemia.
A.
Uh,
A.
Yes, you're right. The answer is A. Now coming to question 5. A female patient of 63 years of age went to the doctor and was concerned about her health. In her history, she said that she drinks at least 12 cups of coffee and has severe depression. What was the level of risk of having anemia in this patient? Low risk, high risk, very low risk, D, no risk, or E, very high risk of anemia? Oh, sorry, C was very low risk.
B.
The answer is E. This comes under very high risk of anemia. Question 6. A 50-year-old patient presented in the outdoor patient department to a pulmonologist. He complains of having shortness of breath. Chest was clear on examination. He was having history of diabetes, hypertension, ischemic heart disease, and dermatitis. Hemoglobin level is 10 grams per deciliter. What is the most probable cause of the shortness of breath? A. Diabetes, B. Hypertension, C. Ischemic heart disease, D. Anemia, or E. Dermatitis?
D. Anemia.
Yes, the answer is D. Anemia. Question 7. A patient presented in the Mother Care Center. She was breastfeeding her 5-month-old. She was concerned about the macronutrient intake in the diet. What would be the daily iron requirement of this mother? This is basically 6 to 8 milligrams per day, 9 to 10 milligrams per day, 18 milligrams per day, or D, 27 milligrams per day, or E, 14 to 15 milligrams per day.
B.
Yes, the answer is B. Question 8. A 45-year-old patient presented in the OPD with complaint of early fatigue. He was diagnosed as iron deficiency anemia. Anemia was corrected after 2 to 4 months of iron intake. For how many months iron is required to replenish the iron stores? A, 2 to 3 months, B, 4 to 6, C, 5 to 6, D, 1 to 2, or E, 7 to 8 months?
C.
No, the answer is 8B, 4 to 6 months. Question 9. An 11-year-old female patient presented in the emergency and was diagnosed with severe form of iron deficiency anemia. What is the amount of iron and other supplementation that should be given to the patient as part of therapeutic management of severe anemia? A, 60 milligrams of iron and 40 microgram folate for 3 months, or B, 60 milligram iron and 400 microgram folate for 10 months, 70 milligram iron and 300 microgram folate for 8 months, 100 milligrams iron and 60 micrograms of folate, 98 milligrams of iron and 78 micrograms of folate.
B.
The answer is A. Question 10. In 2021, 40 COVID-affected pregnant women gave birth to low birth weight children. After doing research, it was observed that lack of a specific nutrient causes this low birth weight child. So what is that nutrient which causes low birth weight child in COVID-affected pregnant ladies? A, vitamin B, B, vitamin C, C, iron, D, magnesium, or E, calcium?
C.
The answer is C,
B.
iron. This is the key. And this is a link to my YouTube channel. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. This is a very nice presentation, very well elaborated and very well done. So thank you everyone for joining in. So see you in the department today. Allah Hafiz.
Hafiz, thank you, ma'am.